All right, today I'm going to help you understand how to use ChatGPT as a running coach. Okay, whether you want to run a 5K, a half marathon, or a marathon, this is going to help you utilize ChatGPT as a tool, okay, in training for whatever it is that you're trying to get your best time on next. So I'm going to use my client as an example, and he is a person who just lost 100 pounds. He's someone who a year ago struggled to kind of walk around his neighborhood. Over the course of the year, he went from walking to jogging to running. And it's been awesome to watch as his coach, someone who's coached him through a 100-pound weight loss. It's been great to see his transformation and now developing over the course of time a love for running. So he was able to pull off on his own going from couch to 5K in 45 minutes. Okay, so he wants to, by April 6th, be able to run a 5K in 30 minutes. So naturally, how the hell do you go from running a 45-minute 5K, which is about 15 minutes a mile, to a 30-minute 5K, which is about 10 minutes a mile? So what we'll do is we'll enter these parameters into ChatGPT. And I'm saying on behalf of beginner runners and beginners to ChatGPT, I want to create a plan for my client to go from 45-minute 5K to a 30-minute 5K in 4 months. Okay? This is for my client or for you watching this. I'm a man in my early 30s. Over the last year and a few months, I lost around 100 pounds. Early in on this weight loss journey, I began walking around my neighborhood. My walks turned into jogs, which eventually turned into runs. Now I can complete a 5K in 45 minutes. I would like to plan a 5K in 30 minutes. And here are some parameters. I can run or train for this nearly every day. Now, that's a big deal. How much time can you allocate to this? So now we've set a date, we've set a goal, and now we have to give it the parameters, okay? So what are the parameters? Your parameters are, how are you physically? What is your current running knowledge? What is your current physical abilities? How much time can you dedicate to this task? And do you have resources to supply all the things you'll need? Or do you have to work within a certain budget to get all the things you need? And by all the things, I mean food, equipment, sneakers, and of course, the most important thing that even money can't buy, but I guess it can, time. Okay? Do you have time for this? So he has probably up to 45 minutes a day. And on the weekends, he can carve out time for longer runs if needed. Typically, I like to run my long runs on Sunday, early-ish in the morning, sometimes very early, sometimes just, a slow mosey to get out there. But Sunday is like a nice quiet day on the road, and that's when I like to do my runs. He's going to do the same thing. So he can run or train for this nearly every day. He has a treadmill in-house, and he has access to outdoor running, although it's limited by New Hampshire's cold winter temperatures, icy conditions, and hilly terrain. Don't run in danger, right? Like if you feel that your neighborhood is too sketchy, or you just live in like a city and danger means you're going to get hit by a car or mugged, I don't know which, or both, don't run there. So a treadmill is going to be important. There's indoor running facilities, believe it or not. And for me personally, because I live out in the suburbs, kind of a little bit farmy, a lot suburban, I like to run on the road. I'd rather run on the road in rain and heat with bugs, 12 degrees, 20 degrees. I'd rather run out there when it's just not dangerous and icy over a treadmill any day. And I generally don't care what it's doing out there as long as it's not ice. Ice is the only thing I don't run in. But with that said, if you live on a hill or in a very hilly area and it's always icy, well, then that's dangerous. And so you can't do that. So you have to make an adjustment. In this case, he's given the parameters. He has a treadmill and he has access to outdoors most of the year. Also, in addition to that, he has good strength training equipment and he wants to continue to build muscle and get stronger. So before any kind of running training, like what are you doing with yourself? Are you doing nothing else? Are you already incorporating strength training? See, one thing I had to do was, when I was training for my marathon, was I did a lot of leg strength training. And what I didn't realize was that leg strength training takes a long time to recover from. So if you're strength training your legs while you're marathon training, that can sort of help diminish the return on the time that you're putting into running, because you're always kind of fighting against recovering from your leg strength training. So now that I have strength training for my legs done, similar to what he's going to do, he has the ability to train his upper body. And during the course of this, because he still has room to gain more strength in his lower body and recover from it just fine, and probably not be able to sustain having many days a week of running, I think strength training for his legs is a good idea right now too. So he has all those things. He also has the resources to get whatever the supplements or food might be, the requirements for gear or sneakers or whatever. So he has all those things, and that's good. So how do we get to this time and date? So I'm going to set April 6th as the date. I'll just enter this data in, okay, and see what it says. Here is a 4-month plan to take you to your client. The plan overview. Look at this. Now I'm going to validate this, but it's just interesting. Some people say that ChatGPT is making people dumber. I think if you're dumb and you use ChatGPT, you're just going to be dumb still. But I think if you're smart and resourceful and creative, that ChatGPT just makes you more smart, more resourceful, and more creative. I don't think it matters. I think it's a tool for me that I use for like 100 different things. Like if you look back at my history, it's unbelievable. It's like a conversation with an intelligent alien or something. I don't really know what it is, but look at what the hell it's doing here. And so this is great. This is all data on a screen, and that's awesome and all. So I want to let this thing keep running its course. Okay, it's done. So let's take a look at what it said. And now, because I am a running coach and because I'm on my 3rd marathon, and I've completed probably 50 half marathons, I feel I'm qualified to look at a plan for a 5K and know if it's blowing smoke or if it's legit, because there's certain structure that has to happen for any running training plan. So let's see what it's got going on here. We're going to warm up 5-minute walk, intervals, 2-minute jog, 3-minute walk, repeat 6 to 8 times. Easy run, distance, yep, hill interval run, 30-second hill jog, repeat 6 times. Squats, deadlifts, yeah, I like that. 2, build endurance and introduce speed. Increase jog time, decrease walk time. Now, it's hard as someone who's training for a marathon, and I say things out loud like I'm going on an easy run today, and my wife or whoever will be like, "Well, what are you doing?" And I'm like, "Oh, well, I'm gonna just run 8 miles today, but I'm gonna do it at a slow pace." Well, what's your slow pace? Like 8 minutes, 30 seconds, something like that. And so when you go so far down the rabbit hole of like running training, you lose track of what sounds insane. And I'm at that place. So I'm not trying to be a dick about my speeds or my times. I've just come a long way. And it wasn't, I just want to make it clear that it wasn't that long ago. For me, at least mentally, it's probably been over 10 years, maybe 12 or 13 years. But since I was here though, but I was here and now I'm here. But that's like, you're talking about like a decade later. And so my tool, that my training here is Boston Marathon. I want to run a 3-hour and 20-minute marathon, and it's structuring a plan for me. And I'm not going to bring that up right now. I'm not going to even show that because it's a little bit psychotic. I mean, let's be honest here. That's a ridiculous thing to try to accomplish at 50 years old. And so I'm not going to dilute this or diminish this by worrying about or talking about that. All I'm saying is this tool can take you to that place too. So you can go from learning about how to run a better 5K all the way through learning how to get to the Boston Marathon if you want to, if you have the time and the resources and the desire and the health to do so. This tool will help get you there. But you have to pay attention to what it's telling you to do. and you have to prompt it properly. So I'm looking at this and it looks pretty good, like week over week, month over month. I mean, I really don't see any. The only thing I don't see in here, it's saying strength training, focus on mobility and injury prevention. That's great, but there's something missing from this. And it's, in my opinion, it's one of the most important things. It's, I believe, one of the reasons why I was able to remove injury or prevent injury, I think, and that is a quote unquote yoga practice, or we'll just call it a stretching practice, a mindful stretching practice. Not to spook guys out and tell them that they have to do Warrior 1 and Warrior 2 or anything like that. But I do yoga, hot yoga specifically, 1 to 2 times a week, every week, religiously. There's another thing missing from here too, and that's, it's saying stay hydrated, it's saying banana honey, it's saying these things, but not really mentioning nutrition. So you have 2 other facets, which is recovery / active recovery. In addition to that, there's the nutrition. Okay. So getting to any good speed, and it also is going to be your shoes and sneakers. I think that for me, all of this began with finding the right sneakers, because prior to finding the right sneakers, which is Brooks glycerin, some form of Brooks glycerin for me, with flat feet, being heavy, those always seem to work for me very well. Now I'm in the Brooks Glycerin Max, which I don't recommend for the beginner, but the heels are like really thick. It's like 5 decks of cards, but it's like running on like heaven. It's so cool. Anyway, that's missing too. So let's dive into all that so that I can give you the proper framework of how to go about this. So this is giving you the plan. And so from just a macro view or a very high level view, it's saying do this physically. So the physical part's there, but what about the recovery? What about the nutrition? And what about the gear? These are important factors, okay? And I mean, it's telling you to go out and do these runs, but it's not saying where or how, and that's fine. You choose what it is that you're going to gravitate to. Again, I'll say that without the proper sneakers and without running on a road, I'd never be running long distances because I got so bored with treadmills. And the flaw with a treadmill to me is that you could just get off the treadmill anytime you want. But if you run 5 miles from your house, you still have to get 5 miles back. And that was my big trick, is just getting as far away from my house as possible and getting home, however I had to get home. So that helped a lot. But with that said, irrelevant right now, because now we have to worry about, well, what about recovery, including diet, active recovery, including stretching. And I'll be honest with you, I'm only making this thing even remotely legible. When I type the ChatGPT, it knows that I'm typing furious typing moron, and I type typos all the time. And it just so you know, doesn't care. You could just type typos and it figures it out, and it gets to know you. Okay, so active recovery, including diet. Recovery, including diet, active recovery, including stretching, walking, and sneakers / socks. Because really the sneakers and the socks are the most important form of gear. Over time, I would say the other gear is important to deal with temperatures outside, or to deal with things on your legs. Like, I just can't run in pants. Like, I'll run in shorts until it's like 16 degrees out before I put those stupid leggings on. Okay, diet for recovery. The goal, repair muscles, replenish glycogen, reduce inflammation. Correct. All right, so it's giving you decent information here. Really, at the end of the day, if you're eating clean protein and quality carbohydrates, and understand that, for a 3-mile run, 3.2 mile run, you don't really need to worry that much about maintaining glycogen and fuel. Like the body doesn't run out of its own fuel for a long time after that, like 10 to 13 miles. I can make it 10 to 13 miles, and anyone can make it 10 to 13 miles without having to go next level with eating during running or gels and all this other shit. If you properly feed yourself prior, you'll be fine. Okay. And I'll dig into carbs and all that stuff in a minute. Just because I've learned some stuff along the way. Smoothie, whey protein, man. I'm on the fence with whey protein because I'd rather just eat banana and almond milk on its own and whey protein on its own because it's gross and it just makes good things taste gross. So I figure if you're gonna eat whey protein or drink it, whatever you do with it, just fire it down and then just enjoy the other thing for what it is. Or just get your protein in the form of an egg, fat-free yogurt. Just my thing is like on run days and for running in general is I like to avoid heavy fat and big fattening type things. I'd like to not have those in my system and replace the calories for fat with carbohydrates, quality carbohydrates. This way you don't exceed your calories for the day and you don't feel so heavy and your body's not trying to process fat. It's getting the carbs that it needs instantly. Sweet potatoes, dates, raisins, if you can stomach it, good whole grain wheat bread, oats, honey, maple syrup. Those are all my favorites. Okay. However, I found that oats and wheat and gluten stuff, anything with gluten in it and high amounts of fiber really do bother me. So I tend to gravitate now to bananas. And I do like the date thing that I've been screwing with, and the sweet potato thing always seems to work very well for me. So sweet potatoes and bananas and honey are my go-to like 3 main sources of carbohydrates these days. My nutrition in this nutrition seems pretty aligned, I'd say. Healthy fats, including omega-3s, salmon, flaxseed for reducing inflammation. Drink 16 to 20 ounces of water for every pound. Yeah, whatever. Like 3-mile run, unless you're running in 90-degree heat, it's just 3 miles. Like it's fine. You don't have to really worry about all this water bottles and vests and all this other stuff. Supplements, electrolytes. I like to load up with electrolytes. My collagen these days, I've been getting through homemade bone broth, which is a whole project and disgusting thing in itself. Active recovery strategies. Yeah, see. So when you really start to look at this, right, then you wonder, well, what does a running coach do? The running coach helps you navigate all of this stuff and it helps provide you with the framework for this stuff. But I've just been provided this framework in just if you give it the right prompts and the right information and the right structure, you'll get the right thing. So now with everything that I just said, now I'm going to ask for, can I have this, have a concise, printable plan, including running, weekly runs, including weekly runs, nutrition, and active recovery. Blend it all. Let's say. Okay, see, like this is good and it's a good framework, but now what it didn't tell me was specifically every day for the next 4 months, what am I doing? So exactly what you ask it. Every day for the next 4 months, noting Sunday can be my long run and I'd like to run no more than 4 times per week, but 3 is optimal. Let's see. Look at that. See? And when it's done, I'll click on the share button again. Or it's going to get stuck here. So this is a public link, and I can create this public link, right? I can make this discoverable now. Wow. Look at that. Are you telling me that chats are now searchable on the web? Oh my God. Wow. All right. Well, I just made a new discovery too. Look at that. Okay. That's just, I have to process that one. Cool. Okay. So let's take a look. And again, you're looking at this and you're saying, okay, maybe though I want to do this on this day. So if this doesn't align with what you want to do, that you know you want to do on a specific day, like you have a yoga class that you go to and you love that class, like, or you have whatever with your kid and you can't do it, whatever, you have a meeting, scheduled meeting on one of these days, whatever the thing is that you have, you just give it the parameters and tell them that whatever the hell this thing is, and it will alter for you. Now, one thing I wanted to show you though is this. So this is my client's recent runs that I grabbed from his Discord. All right, so we're looking at his splits here. Now, what I want to show you is if you hit Shift Windows S, okay, it turns your screen into this. This is assuming that you're on Windows 11. Shift the Windows key S, and then you just click and drag anything on any window. So it will copy it, okay? Automatically, it copies what you've done that to. And then if you go back to ChatGPT, you just hit Control V, which is paste, okay? And it's gonna paste that information. So I'm gonna do that with a few of these. Let's do this one too, unless this is the one I just did. It looks very similar. And I'm just gonna say, okay, please analyze these runs. Look at these, look at the spelling. Please analyze these runs. And validate this is good for the outlined plan. So what I'm saying to it is, in my idiotic way of typing and saying things, is look at these two JPEGs and make sure that I'm not having false expectations about what I can do in a certain amount of time, or that what you've outlined for me based on my physical abilities isn't optimal. So that's what it's doing. So it gave me exactly what was done here. So there's another thing that you need to know is that ChatGPT can read images. So I take my Strava information and I upload it right into, and I'm going to show this real quick. Again, I'm not trying to be some show off. I'm just trying to show you that you can go to Strava. There will be an integration soon. At least it'll be created by somebody, or Strava itself. So let me just take my last, I'll take this big run that I did on Sunday, 16 miler. So you can see my splits, right? See all that? Pretty cool. Of course, it'd be even cooler if you could see them all, but you can't. So maybe take a shorter run so you can see all my splits. I just want to show you that on any screen of the internet that you can grab Control Windows, I'm sorry, Shift Windows S. And let's grab all this and add it to this. And just hit Control V and it will analyze that. Now, I'm not going to analyze anything just because I'm not going to ruin this chat with my information, but I just want to show you that from Strava, if you just grab this thing, okay, or some of your like your time, your overview, temperatures, all this stuff, it will make a memory of things too. So let's just say like you come back to this chat and your times are doing better than you expected, or something's off, or you want to just fine tune something. Then you come back to this chat and you keep it going. You say, okay, well, I did this today. And so what I do when I'm doing my marathon training is not every day, but on significant runs, I go back to it and say, okay, let's pit this run, what I just did, against what you told me to do. How did it stack up? What can I do to improve it? And then I go from there. And that's been really helpful because I've been doing runs lately that I feel are way out of my abilities. And when I used to look at these runs on other people's Stravas, and I used to imagine running like that, and I would just think in my head that there's no fucking way that I'm ever going to run that fast. So I don't even want to hear that. But now I'm actually entertaining it, and I'm entertaining in my mind speeds that I can't believe. I'm performing speeds that I can't believe. And going through initial marathon training was survival. Going through marathon training to get a PR is just a fine-tuning process. It's a learning process. And it's really cool, actually, because you take this massive project, you say, I did all these things right, but I did all these things wrong. And so let me see if I can fine tune or fix these things. So in order to get to that place, though, you start with a 5K and you start by doing this. And again, AI can lay out the structure and tell you what to do, but it ain't going to do it. So the only one that's going to do it is you. So this is fine and magic and all that, only if you're doing the work. Because if you're not doing the work, this is just letters on a screen doing nothing. Okay. So yeah, so it analyzed that workout and feedback and adjustments. So I'm gonna just ask, these runs are solid for month 20. Okay, I'm gonna ask one more time. Please output daily plan in an easy to copy format. Because what it does also is it likes to nest things and put things in tables. It likes to do like lines, bullet lists, but it like double and triple indents bullet lists. So when you copy them into some other place, the formatting goes bananas. So I like to tell it to just chill with the formatting and just give it to me like in a basic like layout. Okay. Please output daily plan in an easy to copy format. Please. Notice I still say please. Please include strength and stretching. Please also include nutrition based on this. Let's say. See, now, this is very annoying to me because I didn't ask it. Well, it shouldn't be annoying because I didn't ask it and I didn't tell it, but I don't need it to tell me what to do on strength training days. Maybe some people do. And again, just so that you know that that's an option. If you don't know what to do, it will fill in the blanks for you. But if you already know what to do, then just tell them that. And again, refine this with the tool as many rounds as you need to take to get it right. And that involves looking at what it said and just knowing certain things. So you have to be intuitive to a certain degree and say, well, no, that's weird. Or that doesn't make sense. Or I don't know. That something's wrong with that. And ask it to check itself. Because it's often that you ask it to check itself before it regularly wrecks itself. And it does check itself and it's wrong. And it admits it and then fixes it. So, and now I just want to make sure this is to achieve a 30-minute achieve. Look at that. 30-minute 5K in 4 months from, oh my God, 45 min 5K now. See, it's something different. And so listen, just don't get discouraged by that. Just work with it. And then take this plan. See, here's the double nested bullet points that drive me crazy, but that's okay. The tempo runs are great. Yeah, see, it's telling you to increase the long runs to 4 miles. I get that. Okay, so from here, I think you get it now. And what I like to do then daily is, or weekly, I should say. Weekly, I get my plan laid out for me. Okay. So I don't necessarily go out and print like a 4-month plan or anything like that. But weekly, I get my plan laid out for me. And then what I'll do is I have ChatGPT on my phone too. And in the morning that I know I'm going to do a run, I'll go to it and I'll keep the same thread open. Mine's the Boston Marathon thread. This is the new one. And I'll tell it, or I'll ask it, what's today's run? What's going on? And make sure that it's on point, telling me what to do, and try my best to adhere to that. And if I'm having doubts, like any adjustments that need to be made, or if I have new parameters could be an injury that you're nursing. A new parameter could be a fluctuation in temperature that you didn't see coming, or a cough you have, or a schedule conflict. You're used to running at 7:30 in the morning, but now you have some meeting or you have something at your kid's school. So you can't really run in the morning. You have to do it sometime either in the afternoon or a different time. So you can screw your whole schedule up, and how do you adjust for that? This will help you adjust for those new parameters, but it won't help you adjust for the new parameters unless you enter the parameters in. So every single time you complete something, if you're really wanting to do this, it's the same thing as having a coach. Ultimately, it's just not a person. You still have to interact with it and tell it things and be honest with it and let it help you. It's just going to give you data. Okay. This is just data based on a math problem that is helping you get from what you got to where you want to go. So the more data you can help to solve this big math problem, this logistics and math problem, the better your outcome is going to be. Okay, so I hope this gives you at least enough insight to set up the framework. And if you need any help with actual coaching, because again, there's a human element that provides motivation. There's a human element that provides hands-on help, and the ability to reason and go back and forth and talk about different variables in a different way. The human coach is always going to be of value, but it may not be affordable or desired. you may just want to rely on this. And so I'm just giving you the framework to do that. So if you need a human coach, I would love to work with you. And if you need a coach just to help you with the technology part of it, because this is a big mystery to a lot of people. And I spent 25 years in this chair now for the last like 7 or 8, just trying to get out of the chair more often, not permanently, but more often. As a digital professional, I know how to use all these things and use them well. And I think that's a big benefit, and it will be a big benefit going forward. So if you need help with the digital aspect of it, let me know. I'm open to training, both digitally and physically, remote, in person. It's been a joy to teach people, and I look forward to doing it again. Hopefully this helps somebody use ChatGPT in a smart way to get to their goals, whether it's running or some other form of physical activity. I've just happened to focus on running today. I'll be back soon with a way to manage and track your food and your calories using ChatGPT. Peace out.